Hey there, fight fans. I am John Pollock, and this is Fight News Now Extra. Stay tuned for our panel chat with John Ramdeen and Robin Black, who will be joining me today in the news. Alistair Overeem's drug test comes back clean, but concerning. Stefan Struve is hoping to punch a golden ticket with a win Saturday, and Bellator crowns a new light heavyweight kingpin. Thursday night in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Bellator came at you with a light heavyweight title fight as challenger Attila Vey went the distance with champion Christian Mpumbu and got the judges' nod via unanimous decision to take the title. The card also saw Dave Rickles and Sahad Awad advance to the lightweight finals and will meet later this year for a future title shot at stake. UFC heavyweight Stefan Struve is confident that a win on Saturday night at the Saitama Super Arena will ensure the skyscraper a shot at the heavyweight gold. Struve goes into this bout with Mark Hunt on a 4-fight win streak. While Hunt has not fought since February of last year, he rides a 3-fight winning streak of his own into this fight. The Nevada State Athletic Commission had UFC heavyweight Alistair Overeem take both a urine and blood test following his loss to Antonio Silva last month after UFC 156. Overeem passed his test, but his testosterone level came back extremely low at 179 nanograms per deciliter, with the typical normal range being around 400 nanograms. Overeem was suspended last year following a random test by the Nevada Commission in March with an elevated TE ratio and had to reapply for a license to fight this past February. And the odds are out for the new welterweight matchup at UFC 158 between Johnny Hendricks and Carlos Condit, with the former interim welterweight champion Condit listed as a +116 underdog. Hendricks comes in as the -124 favorite. The two will be the co-feature March the 16th underneath George St. Pierre versus Nick Diaz for the welterweight title fight. Still very close in odds, Ramdeen, and I think very much a pick'em fight.
Yeah, it is a pick'em, but I think the odds are in favor of Johnny Hendricks because of the wrestling background. When you look at these guys stylistically, it looks like Johnny Hendricks might be able to just hold Carlos Condit down for 3 rounds.
The cool thing for Condit is this is kind of the same fight he just fought. When he prepared for George St. Pierre, he prepared to assume that you won't win that takedown defense contest every single time. Do your best on your feet, and when you get the opportunities on the ground, look for a submission, look for a sweep, or do damage with elbows. So he's fought this fight before. I kind of favor Condit a little bit in this fight. Hendricks' giant left hand, I mean, you know, that's just one element. We remove that element, you learn to prepare for it, and you take that, you know, out of mattering after a minute or two and into the second and third round, and all of a sudden he's just a wrestler in the eyes of Condit and his team.
Bellator Thursday night last week, we got a plethora of knockouts. They did continue on Thursday night, especially for Sahad Awad against Will Brooks. Mr. Ramdeen, your assessment of Bellator on Thursday night in Albuquerque?
Yeah, Bellator continues to do the right things. They're entertaining the crowd. People tune in. They don't know who these guys are, but they know that they're going to see action, and that's what they're seeing from the roster right now. Sahad Awad came in, took out Guillaume de Lorenzi, and then took out the prospect in Will Brooks. He's doing the right things, especially, you know, you get a couple of wins, be exciting, and you could be one of the faces of the organization like Ed West is trying to do. He kicked out the lights all night long and then landed that debilitating head kick knockout. It looked absolutely phenomenal. I think this is a guy that we should watch out for in Bellator.
Hey man, like if you're Bellator, you gotta be, you believe in God, I don't know what you believe in, you thank them. Whatever it is, you thank them because things are going properly for you. Like you said, people don't necessarily know who these fighters are. What's the answer to that? Exciting fights, have people talking about every week this is good. Last week, 4 knockouts and a submission in the main card. This week, finishes top to bottom. Bellator has to be thrilled with the way things are going.
It was funny on Impact Wrestling before, they were talking about last week on Bellator, some highlight reel knockouts, but not mentioning or showing any of the highlight reel knockouts, and just keeping it kind of broad.
Of course.
We mentioned there the Alistair Overeem blood test coming back, and the results, his testosterone very, very low at this point. If he did not have this history, he would probably qualify for an exemption. What do you do with Alistair Overeem right now? Someone who probably did not go into that cage very healthy, but what kind of precedent do you set if you give this guy an exemption?
I mean, how do you not give him one?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when you're sitting there and you say
this guy has a past history of steroid abuse, and we can't simply just give him. They have said that we will give exemptions providing you don't have a history of steroids.
Well, I mean, if a guy has dangerously low hormone levels to be competing, and if that guy would typically qualify to have medical attention to help him compete, I mean, I don't know how you don't do it. We're getting into some pretty weird territory these days. You're looking at, you know, a guy who we know also has used steroids.
And he's going to have doctors on his side that will say, yes, this guy should be exempt from, being restricted, because of everything that he's done and the fact, yes, that he's tested positive in the past. But all these guys need is somebody that's going to be on their side, that has a background in medicine to say, look, we think that this guy should be exempt.
When we look at the timeline of what happened in steroids in sports one day from 2025 or 2030, somewhere around 2008 to 2014 was this murky, lawyers and doctors and everybody trying to make sense of a period. We're in a weird period when it comes to this stuff, and there are no answers. There's no simple answers. We could talk about this for hours and come up with nothing.
I think that there's a lot of people that are very much looking forward to seeing Alistair Overeem fight in May, but I think, to be honest, the responsible thing here, if you're the Nevada Commission, is to say, listen, we are not comfortable licensing this guy. He is not healthy to be going in and fighting here. There is a big problem here when this male, in the peak of his prime here, has testosterone levels. You have to ask the question why.
You don't have to ask the question why. You have to assume that this man has burnt out his body's natural ability to make testosterone. That's just a fact. So what is he going to do? If I'm his coach, if I'm his dad, if I'm his best friend, what am I going to get him to do? I'm going to get him to use testosterone and have a doctor just make sure that he's in that range. So when he goes in and he gets tested, they're going to go, yeah, you're in that human range. He's going to have to cheat, and he's going to have to cheat, but keep it within a range of a normal human. And that's, it's just getting weird.
So he's going to do basically what 90% of the fighters fighting in the UFC do.
I don't think 90, but a lot of guys are doing that.
Sean McCorkle says it's 90.
Quickly, guys, some picks for Saturday night. Stefan Struve taking on Mark Hunt. Robin.
Stefan Struve is going to show that he has really learned and developed that ability to use that 7-foot range. I think he's going to finish Mark Hunt, and if he does, he's arrived.
If he finishes Mark Hunt, it's going to be by submission because, Stefan Struve's a guy who likes to get in there, likes to prove that the best strikers come from Holland. He's from Holland. He's going to try to use that range, but if he tries to get into a firefight with Mark Hunt, I think he'll be on the losing side of things. But I do think Stefan Struve wins by submission.
One-word answer, Okami versus Lombard.
Killer.
Lombard.
That's what I was looking for. Was a pick, Robin.
Explosive knockout.
Hey,
anyway,
I'm not psychic.
Very hot card coming up Saturday night in Japan. Fight News Now Extra continues.